Hi, little babies. I've never called you guys that. My favorite thing to do as an annoying person is to make videos about fellow annoying people or annoying subjects. I am the spokesperson for being annoying. I'm proud and I'll embrace that, whatever. Today I want to do a quick little short video, one that does not require so much deep diving and research and Google Docking for me. Like I still Google Doc'd, but I didn't Google Doc as hard as I sometimes do because sometimes I Google Doc really fucking hard, let me tell you that. It's a topic that I know a lot about already and I just feel very passionate about it, and it's about the what about me effect. Hello, what about me?
Hello, what about me?
I want to talk about whataboutism, trauma dumping, and hyperindividualism. Yeah, don't interrupt. Mommy's talking about annoying people right now. Hello, what about me? She likes when I do that. Clementine, any words about hyperindividualism? No, you're supposed to talk into the mic.
I'm a Republican voting for Mitt Romney.
Okay, you're being a little bit too problematic and opinionated for my channel. This video is totally inspired by the TikToker Sarah, the book fairy. No, essentially what Sarah talks about is bean soup. That's the whole TikTok. And it inspired this whole video. No, I'm joking. I'll give some snippets of what Sarah talked about in her video.
I want to talk to you guys about something I've decided to call the what about me effect. The what about me effect basically combines individualistic culture with being chronically online. And I feel like it's very easy to write it off as like a lack of common sense or critical thinking, but I don't think it's that. The what about me effect is when someone sees something that doesn't really pertain to them or they can't fully relate to, and they find a way to make it about them or try to seek out certain accommodations for their very nuanced, personalized situation instead of recognizing that maybe they are just not the target audience for that thing. I will give you an example. If anyone has seen the bean soup video, where this girl, she makes like a bean soup that's high in iron to help with your period, and it has like a gajillion different beans in it, and it's called bean soup. And she got all of these comments being like, well, what should I do if I don't like beans? Well, how do I make this without the beans? Can you substitute the beans? Instead of just saying, hey, if I don't like beans, maybe I shouldn't watch this bean soup video. We make everything about ourselves and seek out accommodations and validation for everything. And before someone makes this about something it's not, I'm coming to you as a leftist who cares a lot about equity and inclusion. So those are not the things I'm talking about. I'm talking about when I sit down after a long day and I come onto God's internet and I see videos that are like, here's how to put your hair up into a really cute hairstyle, and someone comments and is like, what if I'm bald?
Hello, what about me? I think we're witnessing a great wave of people being very comfortable, too comfortable, being hyper individualistic. She was able to put my thoughts fully into words because these are definitely thoughts that I've had in the past, but I've like worried if I came off as mean or like not inclusive enough by like vocalizing my thoughts. There has definitely been times where I've gotten comments similar to that of the bean soup girl, and I've been like, what the hell? And I've gotten annoyed with it, but then I'm like, am I being inconsiderate? Am I not being as inclusive as I should be? Because there's definitely times that I probably have been not as inclusive enough or not considerate enough, you know? But I just don't know if that applies to bean soup. If you don't like bean soup, unfortunately, there is not a bean alternative. And it's okay if that bean soup was just not meant for you if you don't like beans. And as I was watching this video the other day, I kind of thought to myself, have I potentially been a what about me bean soup commenter in the past? And I realized that, yes, I actually have been. But before I get into that, I did want to mention some of the comments that are left on this video because I think they're gold. Tammy mentioned garden coffee lady. I'm having coffee in my garden. Oh my God, must be nice. I don't have a garden. 100%. Do you remember that when the woman made a tweet, I think, and it was like, I love spending the mornings drinking a coffee in my garden with my loved one. She just got so much shit for it. Like, I wish I had a fucking garden. You are so lucky and privileged to have a garden. Fuck you. Blue Cottage Bakery says, I get a lot of I hate cookie cakes comments on my videos of me just decorating a cookie cake. I think we should all take away that not everything is for everyone. Specifically you. Not everything is for you, and that's okay. Milk and Hundos commented, it's like when little kids don't understand why don't they get gifts on their friends' birthdays, which I 100% agree with. And I always had this like annoyance with little kids, I feel like, especially about that. I think mainly that comes from me being an only child and not really growing up around other kids, so not understanding developmental stages for children, like, which now I'm a bit more understanding of. But I used to get so pissed off as like a teenager about little kids and being like, why do they not get it that they are not the center of attention at all times, that sometimes it is their friend's birthday, that they don't get to blow out the candles, and they don't get to get a gift, and they don't get to get a party. And it seems to be part of development that kids understand that. I unfortunately think a lot of us online are reverting because of the For You page. I think it also especially applies to trauma dumping. So even though Sarah's video was not about trauma dumping, that's in specific to what I think I was guilty of for a long time. Trauma dumping is defined as unloading traumatic experiences on others without warning or invitation. It's often done to seek validation, attention, or sympathy. While some initial relief may come from dumping your trauma onto someone else, the habit actually does more harm than good. I have 100% done that. I'm like almost positive that when I was younger, if someone posted a video with their father, like a wholesome video of a daughter and father having a good relationship, I would comment something along the lines of, must be nice to have a dad, or my dad fucking left me. I definitely did that. I 100% did that. At the time, I thought it was humorous, and I thought I was like special because like, oh my God, look at me. I'm like doing the unexpected and saying that's something that's so shocking and unexpected. Ooh, shock value. When in reality, it's really unnecessary, and it took away from that video of that daughter and father having whatever fucking moment they had. I'm sure I've done it more than once, to be completely honest. I used to do it in real life. I know I did it in real life for a fact, because that was like my shtick for a long time. Like, oh, I don't have a dad. Whatever. Like, yeah, I still don't, but at least now I'm not annoying about it. Because when I see someone else being happy, do I necessarily need to take away from that person? No. Do I want to? Desperately, yes. But does every situation have to be about me? I never thought I'd ever say that in my whole life, especially in a whole YouTube video, that everything is not about me. And it's a real learning curve. No, I do think that a lot of it is shock value. So even if it may not be the whole dad thing, but there are other instances where, for example, someone will post a video of their dog. The comments will be like, I really didn't need to see this today. My dog died. I am so absolutely sorry that your dog died. But also, that video was not meant for you. That video that someone shared with their dog, it was for themselves. And it was about them. And it was about their dog. Guys, stop fighting. I'm talking about dead dogs. I think it was seen as a lot more funnier in the years past when it was just like edgy, dark humor. But now people are getting tired of it because it's literally everyone. And I don't mean to sit here and be like, oh my God, I trauma dumped before it was cool. But I trauma dumped before it was cool. Also, similarly, I'll see a lot of videos of couples having a good time or going on a date or like PDA or like kissing or whatever in a video. And all the comments are like, if you look closely, you'll see me hanging myself. Dude, you can't just comment on happy people's videos about killing yourself. You can't do that. People are going to do it anyway, but you can't do that. Anyway, this video is all over the place because I'm talking about like trauma dumping and bean soup and like killing yourself and like dead dogs and whatever. But I think it's all intertwined with this feeling that everything has to be for me. And if I see something on the internet that is not for me, brain go crazy. I think with targeted content and targeted ads, I think it's only making things worse. The difference between going on like my TikTok and seeing the ads that I'm curated versus like my boyfriend, mine are like, ooh, girly, makeup, beauty, fashion. Like they know I'm a girl. They're like, ooh, the morning after pill. My boyfriend gets like sports betting stuff. We are all aware of targeted ads and content. Like that's nothing new whatsoever. But since everything is so curated for us than ever before, and now that the internet is such an immersive part of our experience and so many kids are like growing up with it to now like they've just always had access to the internet, it's kind of weird to watch something on your phone or on your TV and you not enjoy it or it not be for you. Meaning like when I was a kid, when I was super duper young, because right now I'm 24 and I'm so old and I was really pubescent and young. I'm just thinking about this one time I met up with someone at a coffee shop. We were discussing business, but anyway, He says, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. Like, I think the last time I saw you was before puberty. Anyway, I think of that every single time when I talk about puberty or pubescentness. Anyway, when I would watch TV, cable television, or the radio, if something came on that I didn't like, I would sit through it and wait for the next thing to come on, or I would change the channel or station to find something that I actually did like, or do something else, you know? I wasn't calling up the radio station and being like, you guys are not playing my hits today. What the hell? Play Kesha now. And I think now when we're online, we don't have to do a lot of searching for things we like anymore. If anything, it's like kind of hard to find anything that you're not super interested in. Like, I mean, we're fucking addicted to our phones, and like we struggle going from app to app and being like, I need to put my phone down. But now that we are literally spoon-fed content that we love so much and we cannot get enough of, and we cannot put our phones down, and every single app and website literally knows what you like, I can understand why people are like, what the hell? Like, this doesn't feel like it's for me. Why am I getting a video on my For You page about bean soup when my internet, my iPhone should know that I don't like fucking beans. But think about it, like Spotify, I don't have to search for what I like anymore. I mean, first of all, of course I have playlists, but I also have the option of the playlists that are made weekly for you. What are they called? Oh, your Discover Weekly, where they give you recommendations based off of what you'd like. The AI DJ, where it's like, what up, Nicole? It's X. Glad you're here today.
Your DJ X is here, ready to go.
He listens to me. He takes note of what I like. And then he gives that back to me. That's my man. Amazon, you log on, and then the first thing that it's like is like, oh, recommended on things that you looked at earlier. YouTube, literally recommended page. Netflix, shows that you would like. Literally every single app is based off of what your phone knows that you like. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm not entirely shocked by our culture now that people are quite literally shocked when something is not dedicated to them, curated and molded by the AI gods and been like, this is for you. Everything online is like the For You page, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you. Then people are going to start thinking, okay, it's for me, for me, for me, for me. But some people mentioned how on like bread content, on Bread Talk, people will be making bread and the comments are like, well, what about me? Like, what if I'm gluten-free? Like, how am I supposed to consume this yummy, delicious bread? This is not me saying that not having access to gluten-free bread is traumatic and that you are trauma dumping by commenting that. But I think a lot of the times these comments are coming from like a comedic side of trying to be like, oh my God, look how inconvenienced I am. Like, look how funny this is. And it may feel funny, but in public comments, when a lot of people's comments are just flooded with, well, what about me? Hi, I see that you're making raspberry wine. I'm allergic to raspberries. What about me? I saw a lot of people also calling this the main character syndrome, where everyone just feels so, you know, individualistic and like everything is about them and the world revolves around them. But I can't fully blame these people because I too have been in this headspace. And I think the only thing that probably snapped me out of it, if I'm being entirely serious, like trying to think like, why do I not do that anymore? I think it's because when I started making content and people would trauma dump in my comments, like for example, saying like, must be nice to have a relationship with your mother. My mom's dead. I think I realized how much I didn't really like comments like that when it was taking the focus and the joy out from under me, I guess I should say. And on a lesser scale, I can understand how people who are like making recipe videos like fucking bean soup for your period could also feel very annoyed by millions of comments being like, what about me? I don't like beans. I made this stupid, just sarcastic video about loving tomatoes and how I eat them like a little apple, whatever. Get over it. What do you mean you don't like tomatoes? You're a bad person if you don't like tomatoes. God told me that. A lot of my comments are just like, well, I have sensory issues, so... Or what about me? I'm allergic to tomatoes. What about me? It literally burns my tongue and closes my throat. What am I supposed to do? This only happened a few times in my life growing up, but when I was little and I would go to the grocery store with my mom and we would speak Polish together, I remember this one specific instance in a grocery store where a woman turned around and said, speak English. This is America. Not saying asking for a bean alternative is the equivalent to like dumbassery, but I think a lot of people are really, really uncomfortable and unsettled if a lot of things in their life is not controlled and not curated for them. When we were little, we definitely grew up hearing a lot of, it's good to surround yourself with people with differing opinions and people that are different than you. And And then we got a little older, and then we were like, well, I actually don't really want to surround myself with people who have different, you know, political views and are fascists, which, like, okay, totally valid, 100%, I feel that. But I think as a whole, people have took it like to another level and have been like, I'm gonna stop surrounding myself from anyone who differs from me, and I'm gonna stick in my little bubble. And I know that because it literally happened to me. I work from home. I don't go to school anymore. I literally only hang out with the core group of people that I want to, which are pretty similar to who I am. And so I'm in this enclosed little enveloped bubble that I am in with people who don't really have many other differing opinions, so that when I do come across differing opinions, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's very jarring for me and like hard for me to process. And I think a lot of people are struggling with the idea of going on the internet and hearing other people's interests or ideas or hobbies or opinions or instructions or advice, and being able to like sift through it, decide if it applies to them, and decide if they want to retain that information at all. I talk about this often, but I'm in OCD therapy. I'm in ERP, to be specific. I think the best thing that I've ever been advised is I am literally not allowed rigidity. Like, I wanted to do like the 75 soft challenge where like you work out for like 75 days and like whatever. And I'm quite literally not allowed to do something like that because it would be, first of all, so bad for my OCD, but it is so much rigidity. People with OCD tend to really struggle, people is me, tend to really struggle with black and white thinking and not seeing gray and not seeing nuance and being like, there's only one right answer and there's only one definitive thing, and like that is the only thing that makes me feel comfortable and safe. One of the only ways to treat OCD is exposure, especially the things that make us uncertain and uncomfortable. I know that this video has nothing to do with OCD, but it's cool that therapy is helping me in other factors of my life. But being able to think about real life and opinions and thoughts and nuance without rigidity or crazy structure has immensely helped me being able to be like, my thoughts are not the only ones to exist on this planet, believe it or not. No rigidity, just vibes. No, but there's literally so much nuance to things and so many differing opinions on things. And I expect my opinions to change on certain things. Like, I thought that jokes about not having a father were the funniest thing in the world and to distract from other people's stories and moments and joy. And now I'm like, I really don't agree with that about myself, and I'm happy that I grew out of that and changed. Ultimately, I think that our social media is a bubble now, because before the internet was like this thing where you could like meet so many different people and so many differing opinions and different topics, but like, how often am I truly watching videos of people who have differing opinions than me? How often am I watching content about lives that are very different from my own on social media? How much information or advice am I processing that I may not necessarily 100% agree with? So I think when you put that in the perspective of people who are even younger or even more vulnerable to this kind of information, may not have been able to think about it yet or grow out of it, I can 100% see why people have this whataboutism and thinking that everything revolves around them. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I think the sooner that we're able to look at things that are right in front of us and be like, you know what, this is meant for someone. And that someone may not be me, but this can still be very good information, even though I may not necessarily 100% agree with it or relate to it at all, or can even use this in any way to benefit me. And am I angry at people who comment, I really did not want to see this video of you and your cat. My cat died today. No, obviously that person is hurting and maybe using comedy to help relieve them, maybe using social media to help relieve them, may not feel like I may even ever see their comment or how it would affect me. They're thinking about their own emotions, and I can't blame them. That's like such a strong feeling. Your cat died? Holy shit. Like, I do know what I would do, but I can't say it on the internet because I will get suspended. I can fully see where people are coming when it comes to hyper individualism and thinking that they're the only girl in the world. I want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world. However, I will say I did watch a good video by Princess Milky. I love that name.
Answer, because I am doubling down every single fucking time. If I'm talking about how one of my pet peeves is slow walkers, and you say some stupid shit like, well, what about disabled people? What about people who physically can't walk fast? Like, what about people in wheelchairs? I'm glad you brought it up, because that's exactly who I was talking about. Yeah, no, I can't fucking stand people in wheelchairs. Oh, what? Did my answer surprise you? Wow, you know, it's almost like you knew what I meant to begin with. So, Why the fuck did you ask?
She was talking about how sometimes people will assume the worst about you, or will assume that you're not being inclusive inherently by your first impression, because the video that she made was like talking about how she hates slow walkers, and people were like, you're being ableist. And I do agree that sometimes assuming the worst in others says more about you than it does about the actual person. Being able to understand where there is nuance and where someone isn't necessarily talking about you is important. And I think it's also important that not every single video have disclaimers or footnotes for everything, because not everything we say out loud is like a fucking dissertation for college. You know what I mean? Anyway, I know this is a short little video. I just want to hop on and talk about it because sometimes I have thoughts in my head, and if I don't do anything about it, something really bad happens. If you like this video, please make sure to leave it a like, because that helps me out so much. Also, make sure to leave a comment, your thoughts about whataboutism. Are there any things that you do whataboutism with? Make sure you subscribe if you want to be nasty. If not, you're disgusting. Also, make sure you have your bell notifications on so you know every single time I post, or else you are gross. If you want to follow me on my other social media, Instagram, Twitter, Depop, Spotify, it's just at Nicole Rafiee. And if you want to follow me on my TikTok, it's at Nikki Nasty. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go on someone's TikTok page where they show off their father for being very loving and nice, and tell them that mine left me. Love you. Bye bye.